Welcome everyone to ISIS Parenting Sleep Support Webinar and Chat. My name is Nancy Holtzman. I'm a mom and baby nurse educator, board certified lactation consultant, board certified in pediatrics, and I'm here at the home office at ISIS Parenting outside of Boston, Massachusetts. And today we are going to be focusing on napping 911, helping babies learn to take naps in the crib. And we will talk about the common issues and concerns that come up, and then some various approaches to help your baby initiate sleep and stay asleep a little bit longer on a regular basis in the crib, if that is your goal. That's not everybody's goal, but if that is your goal, that's what we're talking about today, some ways to help you with that. With me today is my friend and colleague Meg Casano. Meg is our ISIS Parenting Sleep Team Leader. We oversee a team of 7 consultants, all master's degree level, and Meg also is the mother of 4 beautiful girls under the age of 6. So I know nap time is awfully important in the Casano household. Meg, take it away.
Thanks, Nancy. Nap time is important in my house. Thanks everyone for joining in. Great turnout, and I'm happy to see some familiar names up here. I'm gonna jump right in because we have a lot to cover today. And so we just wanted to start because we have some new people joining us. I want you to know that as I'm talking about solving some nap problems today, it's going to be really important for you to keep in mind that whenever you're trying to fix your child's sleep problem, the whole package has to be working for you. You think everything from the timing of your child's sleep to the sleep environment. We talk about things like darkness and white noise. It's going to be really important that you have all of this working for you. I'm going to talk through some of it, but we do recommend that if you're new to this, that you go back and check out some of our previously recorded webinars for more detailed information before you get started on your particular plan. Okay, so just, sort of my plug for naps. Why work on naps? Some people say, well, my baby's, terrible sleeper during the day, but then she'll sleep like 13 hours at night. What's the problem? Naps are actually really healthy. They help restore your baby both mentally and physically. For younger babies, nap sleep is the type of sleep where there's a lot of information processing, memory making, learning. This is how your baby is building on the information that she's taking in each day. So nap sleep is really important. And also, of course, for improved mood, attention, and adaptability, especially, if you're trying to make changes in your night sleep, or if you're trying to make changes in your day sleep separately, it's important that you're having good night sleep as well. Okay, so one of the reasons we chose to do this webinar is because nap consults, when I do individual consults for families, nap questions come up a lot. And the most common problems are nap initiation, which would be falling asleep independently, and also nap duration, having your baby put more than one sleep cycle together. And so those of you know the nap pop-ups, and actually babies often have a pretty exact sleep cycle. Like you might notice that your baby pops up at 37 minutes or 42 minutes. And this is actually quite common. We want your baby to put more than one, put 2 or 3 of those sleep cycles together. A lot of babies have a combination of both problems. The goals of a nap intervention, when you start a nap intervention, your goal will be teaching your baby how to fall asleep independently for their nap, and or teaching your baby how to sleep longer for their nap. Again, this is not everybody's goal, but if you're trying to improve your naps, this is what I'm going to be talking to you about today. Okay, so how to begin. Some sort of ground rules. You want to start no earlier than 5.5 months from due date. And I know we have a lot of newborn moms who probably just, oh man, it doesn't mean there aren't things you can do, you can be doing with your newborn baby. And for that, I would actually refer you to, we have a newborn webinar recorded that gives you a lot of tips for nap extension, soothing through those sleep cycles, room environment. So definitely things you can be working on, and there will be things in this webinar that can help you too. But as far far as sort of starting this, okay, what's my 10-day fix, or what's my 2 or 3 week fix? This is really for babies who are 5.5 months, and remember, we count from due date. If you try to start something really formalized before 5.5 months, you may be trying to push your baby into something that they're just not ready biologically to do. We don't generally see those nice regular napping patterns until 5.5 to 6 months old. Okay, so you want to start your nap work when you have a regular morning wake-up time established. See back to the webinars about the importance of keeping the circadian rhythm regular, having your morning wake-up time falling within the same 30-minute window each morning. You may need to spend a few days sort of working on this and get your baby's morning wake-up time established before you start your nap work. You also want to start when your night sleep is well consolidated. You don't have to have perfect nights. Your baby may be waking up at night and having feedings or having some bed sharing. And that, if your baby is still well rested from the night that you have that you're comfortable with, then that is a fine, and you can still start working on naps. If you are feeling like in the morning, oh, my baby seems tired, it doesn't seem well rested from their night, that's not the time to begin working on your naps. You also want to start when some patterns are noticed. Now, again, I realize the whole reason you're trying to work on your naps is because there may not be patterns, you may not have predictability, and that's okay. You don't have to have perfection, but I like to see parents or caregivers have at least made some attempts at getting some consistency before you just jump right into working on naps. A lot of babies just being offered naps at predictable times and predictable locations start to become better nappers naturally. If you've already done that, then of course, you're going to be ready to go with a nap improvement plan. I do highly recommend you track your sleep. When you do a sleep consult with one of the members of our sleep team, you do get this nifty graph that's really helpful for tracking your baby's sleep. But a lot of moms use apps or other, spreadsheets, and moms and dads and everyone. So tracking sleep, noticing patterns can be really helpful. Don't be afraid to use sleep associations to help establish some patterns. And by that I mean, don't be afraid to, as long as it's safe, rock, hold, go for a walk, go for a drive, wear your baby. Use those sleep associations to start to establish your baby's timing. And that makes it a little easier for you to say, okay, hey, I know that my baby can fall asleep at 9 o'clock in the morning because, hey, he does it every morning in the stroller. Then your next step will be to sort of say, all right, where do we want this nap happening? What, and for how long do we want this nap happening? Now we're talking about babies in the crib, but I'm going to tell you there are going to be some slight differences. Babies who are under 8 months old won't be able to withstand such great amounts of sleep pressure or sleepiness as you're working on your naps. If one particular nap isn't going well, you may have to do a retry for a younger baby's nap a bit earlier than you had hoped as you're thinking about what your desired schedule is. Older babies will be able to withstand longer windows of wakefulness. Again, I'll explain more what this means. If you're going to do a nap intervention, you'll do it for nap 1 and nap 2, or just for your single midday nap if your baby's having just one nap. You would not do it for your third nap if you are a parent of a baby who is on a 3-nap schedule. Okay, so as you're working on this, you are expecting a minimum of 7 to 10 days of work. Doing a slower, soothier plan, which we always offer, I'm only saying it's less effective for daytime sleep. It doesn't mean it can't work. And actually, slower plans are often easier for parents to do during the day because you're awake, you're conscious, and you're not so sleep deprived in the middle of the night yourself. So absolutely can be done. It's just that it will take longer, a little more erratic path to success, and that's just because daytime sleep is different type of sleep than night. So we always just like to be upfront. You want to just think about your family's needs and your expectations and how long you can devote to doing your particular plan. And this is where, we always recommend if you're having trouble with the timing of your child's naps, or figuring out what schedule is right for your family, or figuring out what particular soothing style is right for your family, a personalized consult is always a great way to really get your baby and your family's needs really addressed one-on-one. I want to say too, the day sleep is different from night sleep. And so this is why you can work on your baby's daytime napping. And you can do one thing during the day while you are doing something different at night. So for example, you might be bed sharing, or nursing on demand, or rocking your baby to sleep at bedtime while you are doing something different during the day. Or your baby may be cared for by someone else during the day and have different expectations for sleep during the day while doing something else at night. And that's all okay. Babies are really good, really, really good at compartmentalizing their sleep with different caregivers. Okay, when you actually start your nap intervention, the first thing you are looking at is your timing. You need to begin with a regular morning wake-up time. Your baby's nap patterns are going to be driven by her sleep pressure or her sleepiness. And so it is important that you are offering naps at regular times. Generally, naps are spacing 2 to 3 hours apart, but I'm saying generally because we have a wide range of listeners here. Newborns, it's going to be a lot less than that. Babies who are napping just once in the day, the wake times are going to be more than that. So please, if you're not sure about your baby's timing, go back and watch the Sleep and Nap Patterns webinar by age. As you're going through this, you may find yourself in a position of having to wake a baby. You would only do this if it's going to ultimately protect your regular bedtime. You want to preserve your regular bedtime and your regular wake time, your cornerstones, your bookends of the day, Nancy says. This is your circadian rhythm. You're trying to keep your baby's circadian rhythm nice and regular. So only wake from a nap if it's to protect sort of the domino of naps that leads to your baby's bedtime. Say for example, for a long late nap at the end of the day. You would also, if your baby's having any nap that's lasting more than 3 hours, you would start considering waking your baby from a nap of that length, particularly if your baby had any troubles the night before. You don't want any splitting of circadian rhythm or transferring of lost night sleep into the day. Okay, for your nap location, you want consistent sleep location for the duration of your plan. Remember, I'm talking at least 7 to 10 days. So it is a long time. It is a commitment, but you're thinking of in terms of your baby. You're asking your baby to make a change and make an improvement, and he needs a little time to really sort of figure out what that means. And so it's only going to be fair that you are nice and predictable in the location you're asking your baby to sleep. So if it's a single midday nap, baby's in the crib for the every day during your plan. If it's a baby who's napping twice a day, baby's in the crib for morning and afternoon nap. If it's a baby napping 3 times a day, baby's in the crib for morning nap and second nap. Third nap is the exception. That one can be more on the go. You have to run an errand. You have to get out of the house and get groceries. If baby snoozes in the car, that's okay. You do, though, during this process, you need to avoid cat naps pretty much at all costs. If you go out and you have a 10-minute cat nap in the car, that will sabotage your attempt to ask your baby to then do a nice improved nap for you in the crib at home. The only exception I would say to this, with the consistent sleep location, babies who are at alternative caregivers, like for example, some babies are with a nanny share 2 or 3 days a week, or at a home daycare a couple days a week, or they have a nanny coming into their house. So if a baby is with a caregiver who's familiar to them, and a baby is in an environment that's ideal for sleep, for example, at someone else's house, and it's familiar to them, you can consider that same location. That counts. What is hard to do is if your baby is in a daycare situation where it's a kind of bright, noisy, busy, kind of a daycare setup in that way, where the caregivers in a place like that probably wouldn't be able to do the same kinds of things that you would need to do for your nap intervention. Again, that's more of a one-on-one sort of sidebar, that's something that's great for a sleep consult, talking about how you can do a weekend nap plan, or how you might be able to do some things at daycare, which we actually also have a webinar for that too. So you could check that out. Okay, before you begin your nap intervention, you need to make sure your room environment is ideal. So room is dark enough that it's hard to read, it's cool, it's quiet, and you're using a white noise machine. Go back and again, check out that Cool, Dark, Quiet webinar for all the info you need on this. You would also want to be sure you have a little pre-nap routine. This would be generally 5 to 15 minutes long. It doesn't have to be long and complicated. And this is just a series of steps that you're going to be doing predictably, making a commitment to do something kind of regular before you're now going to be asking your baby to go into their crib for their nap. This is another webinar you can go back and take a look at for more info. Okay, the moment you've been waiting for. When you have figured out your baby's schedule, when you have figured out your baby's environment, your baby's environment is perfect, when you've thought about your baby's bedtime routine, when you've sort of met all your baby's needs for setup, sort of your homework that you have to do before you're going to start your nap work, then you can start your actual intervention. And there are really two options for this. The first option is the nap challenge. And what you do is you make a commitment to saying, okay, I'm going to have my baby's little body in the crib for 60 minutes in the morning and 60 to 90 minutes in the afternoon. I should back up. I said in the crib. I say in the room, at least in your baby's room. Preferably in the crib. If your baby can actually be physically in the crib for that whole time, then you will have faster, more predictable results. However, that's not for everyone. And if you're one of those people, that's okay. Just at least try to keep your baby's little body in her room for 60 minutes in the morning, 60 to 90 minutes in the afternoon. What you do during that 60 minutes or during that 60 to 90 minutes, that is up to you. Whether you're doing higher soothing options, like a trading down sleep association situation, which we have a webinar for. Again, because it's day sleep, it is more challenging sleep for your baby, and it's going to take a little longer for success. But because it's day sleep, you, the caregiver, is awake, and maybe maybe you're able to be more consistent for a longer period of time than you might otherwise be able to do at night. So again, you might choose to do a soothing option during the day that might not work for your family at night, and that's okay. If you choose to do something faster that involves less picking up, less checking in, that is going to be fine too. And always, the less soothing you do, the faster, more predictable results you will get. Important notes. These are questions that we are often asked when we're doing a nap consult. People ask, well, can my baby sleep more than 60 minutes? Absolutely. Your baby is allowed to sleep more than 60 minutes or more than 60 to 90 minutes. It just means, for purposes of the challenge, if your baby hasn't slept after your 60 minutes of trying in the morning, there doesn't seem to be an added benefit to doing more than that during the day. Now, this is different from night, but during the day, it doesn't seem to be benefit to doing more than 60 to 90 minutes of a challenge in the crib. Let me explain this more thoroughly too. Let's say that it takes your baby 20 minutes, but she actually falls asleep and she sleeps for 30 minutes. Okay, now you're in it for 50 minutes. If it's the morning nap, when she wakes up after that 30 minutes, you still have 10 minutes to go to complete your 60 minutes. So instead of just scooping your baby up after that one sleep cycle and saying, great, let's go play, you still want to stay in that sort of night mode. It's dark, it's quiet, it's cool. You're still doing the type of soothing you chose, whether it's more or less, to complete the hour. In the afternoon, same thing. Maybe it took your baby 15 minutes to fall asleep and she slept for 45 minutes. I'm giving myself some easy math. You're in it for 60 minutes. you have another up to 30 minutes to go to see if you can extend. It's not just about getting your baby to learn to fall asleep in the crib, remember. It's about extending those sleep cycles, putting more than one sleep cycle together. And so that's why the additional length of time spent in the crib is very important. If your baby is under 8 months old and cannot withstand great amounts of sleep pressure, if one of your naps was a total bomb, you may need to do a retry. For example, in the morning, if your baby only ended up sleeping about 15 minutes, then 45 minutes later, an hour later, if your baby's 6 months old, you might do a retry. If your baby's older, over 8 months, 8.5 months, 9 months, 11 months, your baby can withstand sleep pressure, greater amounts. That's the sleepiness. And for older babies, you want to be watching more of the clock. And so whatever times you sort of hoped you were going to have for your morning nap and your afternoon nap, you're sort of trying to get your baby to meet those times. Now, you don't have to be set in stone. We don't recommend you're set in stone with your nap times. Always having a 30-minute buffer is great in terms of keeping the circadian rhythm on track. But if your baby seems extra tired on a particular day, even going earlier than that is going to be fine. Remember, wake your baby only if needed to protect your bedtime. And during this time, no cat naps on the go, in the car, in arms. Your challenge time modifications, maybe, if you feel like 60 minutes is a really long time for me, see if you can do 20, see if you can do 30. The longer amounts of time, again, will get you faster, more predictable results, but you can do less. It will take you longer. It might be a little more erratic path to success, but you do have options for modifying the challenge time. Okay, the next nap intervention would be a delayed pickup. And this would be a more interactive approach. However, this option would be for babies who can already initiate their nap. And so if your baby is falling asleep just fine, but only sleeping that 35 minutes or 42 minutes, then you start progressive delays at the end of your nap. And day one, after the wake up at the 42-minute mark, you would just say, I'm going to wait 5 minutes and see if you can delay actually getting your baby up for the playtime and out in the light, out in the bright environment. The next day, see if you can delay 10 minutes. The next day, 15, 20. You repeat this for 7 to 10 days until you get to a maximum time of, in other words, you wouldn't do this more than 90 minutes time spent in the crib. Again, can your child sleep more than 90 minutes? Yes, absolutely. But if it's delays tacked on to the end of the nap, you're not going to do this for more than 90 minutes total. With these delay times, if you are not comfortable just waiting out of the room completely for, say, 20 minutes, again, you can be doing checking in and out. You can be doing soothing association trades from the Trading Down Sleep Association webinar. It just would vary your timing to success. And this is my little Charlotte asleep. Thanks for putting that in, Nancy. That's how she sleeps, with her arms behind her head. Okay, so that was a lot of information really fast. I can spend a whole consultation talking about the nuances of how to do nap work, and anyone on our sleep team is happy to do that for you if you felt like you wanted more one-on-one information. But remember, it's all about the timing, the environment, no cat naps, bedtime routine, and then either your challenge or your delayed pickup options, and thinking about how you want to handle your interaction with your baby during those times.
Right. So, of course, as you might imagine, We have dozens of questions coming in. A lot of the questions are pertaining to current sleep associations, and naps are just so challenging, and a lot of parents are saying that they hold or rock their baby to sleep. So they're trying to nurse or feed or cuddle or bounce their baby to sleep and then transition the baby down to the crib. Can you speak a little bit? Would this be a similar intervention to the trading down intervention where you're just gradually trying to shift
look at your basics. Now, newborn, you won't have the timing part
to help the baby sleep in the crib rather than trying a transfer when the baby is asleep?
Predictable schedule.